Greetings, programs! And welcome to another Bottleman video. So today what I wanted to go over was I wanted to really dissect and show the differences between the prototype system as well as the DX system, ways certain pieces of the Bottleman attach to each other and all that. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at here in this video, but before we do that, I wanted to address a couple things. I'm using a different camera for this, as well as a different microphone. I'm using my headset as well as my webcam to record this instead of my phone and some AirPods that I used to record the last video. There were a couple things that I skipped over as well as didn't fully elaborate on. One is that another reason that I love Bottleman is that they're based off of drinks if it's not obvious enough. As like a big soda person, I guess. I think they're really cool because of that. But not only that, there's some bias there, or even more reason for me to enjoy these guys. Second of all, I kept referring to Beyblade in the last video, but I had said that I keep referring to Beyblade because it took up the time slot, which was true because whenever Beyblade stopped airing in Japan and it was over, Bottleman or Beatamon, Beatamon took that slot. But that's not the reason why I kept mentioning Beyblade. The real reason that I kept mentioning Beyblade is because I think these two toys have something, or I guess those two toys, Beyblade and Bottleman or Beyblade and Beatamon, have something extremely special about them that I feel like nothing else really has, or nothing else can compare to, or you can't really compare these two things to anything else. And that is that they're essentially the same toy. I know you might be thinking, okay, well, Beyblade is a spinning top, and this is a projectile shooter toy thing, a launcher of sorts. And what I mean is that they're both what I refer to as competitive toys or competition toys. Beyblade, it's spinning tops, and like I said, Bottleman is cap shooting and whatever. But there's something about both of them that, like I said, nothing else has. Where you have one and your opponent has one, and you battle them. You can customize them, and the way you customize them changes how you play, and can affect the outcome. And there's also things like user error or user ability, I guess, and trying to get the edge over your opponent, as well as practicing techniques and things. There's not a lot of similarities you can make between other things. The biggest thing I would like to bring in is Bakugan, but even then, like, it's not really the same as Beatamon, Bottleman, and Beyblade. Bakugan, although there is a physical toy element to it, it's closer to a card game, I feel like. Whereas, like, the physical toys that there are on the Bakugan battlefield are more just there to have something more visual. And even then, with card games, it's not entirely the same. There's strategy to it, of course. I mean, there's strategy to everything that I've mentioned so far, but it's not as physical. It's more mental, and I think because of that, that's what makes Beyblade and Bottleman so special. Is that not only are they so unique, and I feel like there's not a large market for what these toys are. Like I said, competition toys, competitive toys, where you battle one versus the other, and that's I think part of why this is so special is because there's so little of that. Um, but that's the real reason why I kept bringing up Beyblade, and I never mentioned why. I never really mentioned why. I just kind of got scatterbrained and nervous or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I feel like there's some super solid potential for these toys uh, to to share the same market, I guess, as Beyblade. Uh, and that's really what I want is for these toys to be able to have you know, a chance to really show what they're capable of, but also selfishly I just want more people to play with. I want to be able to, go online and be like, hey, is there anyone, hosting a tournament near me? Cool, I'm totally down because like I really don't have many people to play with. I have my friends, and that's about it. Um, not only because Bottleman is well, not only because Beat 'em On is so small, but also Bottleman especially is so much smaller than Beat 'em On already, which are in comparison to Beyblade, you know, very small. Um, but I wanted to address those couple things before we got into the real meat of the video. But without further ado, let's take a look at essentially Bottleman anatomy. So take your seats. All right, so here we have the prototype Bottlemen in their base form, I guess. This is without their armor or anything like that. I don't really know what their other pieces are called, but this is them in their base form. Um, Also known as their cores, I guess. It kind of differs, and I'll elaborate on that whenever I jump to DX. Um, but here they are, and we have, of course, we're looking at the Kolomaru core, Gyokurok, and Aqua Sports. I won't try to say too much. Um, or some things I'll skip over because I do plan on doing individual reviews of each one of these guys, and same thing with the DX and whatnot. So there's some stuff I'm going to skip over, but there are some things I want to elaborate and show you. So in the last video, I had brought up the rollers in the speed type core, which is what makes it a speed type, and then you can see those here in the core a little bit better. But what I didn't mention is I kept saying hold part, I think. Pretty much that just means these little plastic pieces that keep the cap from um, falling out of the core. They just hold the cap in there. Um, that's all it is. It's the hold parts. It's what keeps tension, I guess, on the cap. So then whenever you push, they separate and it's able to fly out at the speed it does. Um, so yeah. As for the Kolomaru Power Core, it has this black strip here that adds spin to bottle caps whenever they're fired. Um, you can kind of use it to sometimes hit two targets at once if you're that good, or if you practice enough. I haven't really tried to master that at all. Also on the back, I guess I should go over this, is the what's called the trigger. Um, yeah, it just pushes the bottle cap out of the core. Uh, yeah, and then we have Gyokurox core here, which is a control core, which doesn't really have anything special about it. There's no really anything. If my camera can focus. Does it want to focus, please? Let's focus more on my hands and my background than the actual force focus. Please. Alright, I guess we're just gonna do this a little bit blurry. I apologize, guys. Like I said, I'm using my webcam, so I can't really, I have autofocus on, I'm pretty sure, but... Okay. Anyway, so this is Gyokurox core. Like I said, nothing really special about the hold parts here. I guess that's just because, the less you have, or the more you have, depending on how you look at it, the more there is that will affect the bottle cap and how it shoots and everything. So they're just smooth. What else can I say about these guys? Oh, so something interesting is the way they're put together. So I guess there's two. Although these guys are prototype cores or are prototype Bottlemen, um, there are a difference, or there is a difference between the first three, the original three, which are these guys, and the prototype Bottlemen that came after. And so let me show you that right now. Here I have another Bottleman, one of my, if not my favorite prototype Bottleman, um, Skull Pistol. And so what I want to show you first is, I guess, the back of the core on the inside. Take out his cap real quick. Is I don't know who would be easiest to see. Well, I guess we'll do Aquasports. So if you notice on the inside, there's these little like guiding pieces. You can see it well on here on him. You notice that like there's two pieces here. There's the one in the front, and then there's the back half, which is this triangle, and they connect here. And then if you take a look at the Aquasports core, you'll notice that there's actually a gap in here. And so they added this to the later Bottlemen, or at least later prototype Bottlemen that aren't the original three. I thought that was interesting. I don't know why that is. I think they just designed these three first, and then after they released them, or maybe while they were going to release them, they realized, hey, let's try to fix this. And like I said, and not like I said, but I'd mentioned in my other video that I had bought these Bottlemen towards the end of the run of this toy. So the DX, I think the most recent one to come out was the G system, the God Cap system. But even then, even if these were manufactured, later in the life of even the prototype Bottlemen, I would have thought that they would, make these and then fix that gap, but they didn't. So I guess any of the original three Bottlemen that were manufactured after these, I guess, upgraded prototype Bottlemen just kept the same design. I thought that was very intriguing. But anyway, I guess, I don't know if I said, but it does help the cap not get jammed as much. I believe that's the reasoning for it. That's why they did it. So that's one key difference between these original three Bottlemen, these first three Bottlemen, versus the later ones. I forget what number this guy is. Actually, I think I have his box somewhere. He's number 19, BOT 19. So, but anyway, they did end up adding that in, and there were actually some recolors as well of the original three that do have that larger triangle connected piece for the bottle caps to not jam. But yeah, so that I think is a interesting note to make, as well as here on the side of the core, you can see this sort of clip that I guess hooks onto a small tab. There's some small stressing, but I guess I'll go over that in my review of this guy. Long story short, or a quick side note, sorry, these prototype system Bottlemen are not made well. They have a lot of flaws and are very fragile, especially compared to DX and I guess God system. Um, each system has their each system has their flaws. But back to these tabs on the side, because this is one of the upgraded, I guess, prototype system Bottleman or reworked uh, prototype system Bottleman. Um, you'll notice that they changed. I guess who's easiest to see. I guess Aqua Sports maybe. We'll just keep using Aqua Sports as core. Um, you'll notice that the tab is not only located. I guess it's located in the sorry. I guess it's located in the same spot, but the bottom half here is what has the tab is where the tab is actually attached to and molded onto. Meanwhile, on the original Aquasports core, it's molded onto the top part. So that's also an interesting change they made. I guess maybe for more structural stability because they are prone to breakage. Like I said, these prototype system Bottlemen are very fragile, but in the case of specifically my skull pistol, I don't know if it's a manufacturing error, and again I'll go over this in my review of this guy, but there is that stress on the plastic because this guy does, at least my copy, does like to just fall apart for no reason, unfortunately. Um, so there's that, and I will be showing you guys, I guess, more of these prototype system Bottlemen as I talk about the DX and possibly the Godcap system. I don't know if I'll really need to bring up anything about them if I get to the or when I get to the Godcap system. But as for the prototype system, that's essentially it. Is this is what they look like. This is what the cores look like. Also, oh sorry, some things I forgot to mention is that the way some of the pieces attach. I guess I'll put together a prototype system Bottleman, real quick for you guys, so I can just show you how they attach. We'll do let's do Cola. No, let's do Aqua Sports because I think he has the most unique pieces. So let me grab. I have all of his. Sorry, I just kind of threw all their pieces to a pile on the side here. I don't really want to show you, but I'm gonna have to start digging for those. So let's do his feet first. If I can find those. Here we go. So here we have his feet parts. Um, Everything lines up pretty much to the bottom. You'll see the way everything is shaped. There's a hole and then that line and whatnot. But the way you attach these is at a sort of angle. You'll attach it to the front, and then you'll tab this back clip into the back here. There's that first hole. There's these two holes here. You're gonna attach it to this bottom one. So just like this, bring it up, click it in. It makes a sound. It makes it click. Super satisfying. That's how they attach to the core on the bottom. And then you'll see these slots inside the hold parts. That's where you're going to attach the arms. If I can find his arms, you'll see that these have these little, I guess not notches, but these protrusions, I guess, and that's where they just slot into the arms here. So we'll slot in that one as well as the other one right there. Come on. Okay, there we go. And then they're in pretty good. There I didn't really show it off too well, but there's actually a deeper part that kind of helps secure the arms and not just like help them to avoid them from just sliding off. And then you have here these other notches where the magazine attaches to. I forget which orientation it goes. So it'd go like this. There we go. Okay. So just kind of slot it in, get them nice and lined up, and then just press it in. And that's all there is to it. And then now it's attached, and then all we have left for him is his, I guess, crown piece, which is going to go across the top I guess the neck of the bottle shaped core, and then there's also these little notches for the crown, I guess, or the headband ring, whatever you want to call it, to secure into. So we'll attach that, and that's how you pretty much put together a prototype system Bottleman. They're all the same. They all have those same indents and notches and things around them. So you can, if you wanted to put Aquasport's pieces onto another core instead, and still want to have the blue, aesthetic, and but you want, Aquasports to be power or control type, you can do that. Or if you just want to really mix match and add, I guess I'll show it real quick. But you want to take the feet parts from Skull Pistol here, because that's where his barrel attaches to, and put them on, Aqua Sports and give him a barrel and magazine. You can do that as well. A lot of customization with the prototype system that the DX system does not have, which I will be showing you now. All right, and here we now have the DX system Bottleman cores. And as you can see, they are very different. One thing I want to notice, or I want to show you right off the bat, is on the back here, I actually took off the trigger. The triggers are not detachable on the prototype system cores. They are, or you can attach them, but it requires pretty much taking apart the entire core, which you do build. And I'll hopefully be doing a build, a let's build a Bottleman video, or a couple let's build Bottleman videos on the channel eventually, and really show you that, just to kind of document it. But you can't take off the triggers on the prototype cores. As with the DX system cores, you can, which opens up a decent amount of customization. And so, aside from that, there are some pretty noticeable differences. Mostly, I guess the main one being that, this is really just the core. With the prototype system, you can really just play Bottleman if you really wanted to, like this, with this guy. You can't really do that with this core, even if you have the trigger attached. So that's one key difference. Also, you'll notice, I'll show you, I'll put together a Bottleman for you in a minute, but the way everything really attaches is different. You don't attach the arms to the hold parts, you attach them to these, not tabs, but these slots, in a way. The feet attach very similarly. There's a hole in the bottom and then a hole in the front, and it pretty much goes on the same way. The head slides into this, which it's very odd. You wouldn't really think that, like, the head just slides in. You would think, I guess, how does it attach? But I'll be showing that. And so, yeah, those are the key differences of the prototype system core as well as the DX core. Some other things I wanted to note is that the hold parts are all one piece. All of that white you see is all one piece. And it's almost sandwiched together, or I guess sandwiched together. You can kind of see the seam here where it splits, and then this piece is attached to the top part. It's molded onto the top part, and then it clamps onto these inserts on the bottom. And then something else I would like to note. This is more so about the lore of Bottleman, but also somewhat of my opinion of Bottleman. So in the anime, yes, I did watch the anime. There's also a web series that I did watch as well. But in the anime, Bottleman bottle battlers, walk around with their cores pretty much attached to their hip. I can't really think of anything I guess that I can really compare it to, I guess it'd be like how someone attaches a carabiner to a belt buckle. That's how they kind of walk around with their Bottleman. And it looks pretty much like this, uh, just with something wrapped around the neck, and then there's a long like string piece, and then on the end of that piece, it's attached to their belt buckle or to their hip somehow. So they just walk around with this dangling around, and then of course, thanks to the anime not being very realistic, they just hold up the core, and then all of a sudden, the pieces kind of just show up on the core. Or I think they maybe even like unscrew this cap, and then soda comes out or a drink comes out, and that drink turns into the pieces, and they attach. Um, but the reason I'm mentioning this is because I think there could have been some serious potential for Bottleman accessories, not necessarily, pieces to play the game with, but just to accessorize with. And I think that would have been really cool. Something I would compare it to is if anyone remembers during Beyblade, here I go mentioning Beyblade again, but anyone remembering Metal Series of Beyblade, Bladers walked around, or at least Jinga, the main character of Beyblade, walked around with a I don't even know what it's called. It was pretty much a box that his Beyblade was stored in, and he had that on his belt, and he just walked around with that at all times. Um, and they sold that as an actual accessory. You could actually buy that like Beyblade carrying box that had a capacity of one Beyblade, and attach it to your belt and walk around with your Beyblade always on you. And I think there could have been something for Bottleman, but of course I feel like Takara Tomy um, is kind of scared to really put all their cards, all their eggs in one basket, especially whenever it comes to beat 'em on and Bottleman. Since it's kind of just the um, you know uh, it's the placeholder for Beyblade. Here's something else you guys can play with while we're working on, uh, you know, trying to resell you the same thing. Um, which I mean is what Bottleman is as well. No disrespect to Beyblade. I do love Beyblade. Um, but yeah, so that's something I wanted to mention is that I think that would have been really cool to have, because uh, I guess something that I forgot to mention with the prototype system is that the other cores are shaped like sodas, and then of course they're different. Whenever you're holding the core where the cap shoots out, it looks like a soda bottle or a drink bottle for the prototype system. But then with this one, you have to like flip it up and then kind of turn it around to really get that bottle motif. But I think that would have been really cool to have some accessories that weren't just or some things that weren't just here's a pack of extra caps, or here's a booster pack, here's a blind box, because Bottleman did have some blind boxes, which is pretty cool, but it carried like just recolors of Bottlemen, um, you know which I think that also would have been really cool. If you're a Beyblade X fan, you would know that there's a huge market for recolors of bays, and making your all of your pieces on your Beyblade match. Um, and so I think Bottleman also was trying to go for that, or could have gone for that, but again, it's unfortunately just a placeholder while they're working on Beyblade, and they don't really fully, support. So I think they're afraid to fully support Bottleman, especially since the markets are so similar. Like I said, competition toys, and it would probably take money from Beyblade. Some of that Beyblade audience would turn to Bottleman, and then Beyblade would make less money. Bottleman would make more, of course, or beat them on, depending on which generation you're talking about, or which toy specifically, which projectile. Um, but I think that they're happy with Beyblade as their main cash cow, at least in terms of at least here in the West. Um, so yeah, just quick little side rant, I guess, about that. Not quick little, but definitely a side rant or side something about uh, some Bottleman lore, because I did watch the anime, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that, to be honest. Um, and so now that I have these cores, um, sorry, I just had a quick thought. Yes, the bottle caps as well as triggers. They screw onto the core here. Let's see if I can. Which way? Oh, it's so tight. There we go. They do kind of like. I'm scared I don't break it. They do twist onto the core. There we go. Like a real bottle cap would on a drink, which I think is super cool. Um, so there's that, and I will not be reattaching that for fear of breaking it. But also, they're kind of a pain to get on. I'll be honest. Um, but now that I do have the cores as they are right now, again, I guess I'll go over this real quick. Rollers, speed core, nothing on control cores, protrusions on power cores, which is different from the prototype. Prototype doesn't have any protrusions. They just attach, and then you're kind of just supposed to just squeeze, I guess, um, depending on what the Bottleman is, the gimmick, and everything. But I did mention in the last video how the magazine attached, and here is the hole that I was talking about that I did not show, which I do regret not showing in that video. But here's the hole that the magazine would attach to, and I guess since I have it here, I guess I might as well show you. So there's only one way these magazines can attach. I mean, that's kind of I feel like a no-brainer. Um, but you have this little tab here that's going to slide into, um, this piece where also the head attaches. But you're going to slide it into the back here. If I can, I'm looking at my screen, um, so that I make sure everything's in frame. But it's going to slide here. There's some little, I guess, guards or rails to keep it, from just sliding out. Um, but then on the back, there's this other little tab with a sort of hook shape in a way. It's kind of hard to see, but there is a small uh, hook shape to it, and that's going to also go into the hole in the back. And you're pretty much just going to hook it or make like a J shape, like a scooping motion in a way, um, to attach it. There's some notches and indents here on the side of the core. I'm gonna not look at the camera. Hopefully, sorry, everything's to like the left. I'm keeping everything like out of frame, not trying to. Anyway, that's how it goes on. That's how it attaches. And again, only speed cores. Uh, I think Bottleman is so cool. Sorry. Um, only speed cores can have um, magazines. And then another cool thing about magazines is that some of them, or I think most of them, are stackable. So you can actually attach, if you had another magazine, or really another of this magazine, you could attach another one and another one infinitely. There are tops or toppers to magazines that don't have attachment points, so then it will like just stop you from attaching magazines. But really, if you have like a ton, you could just, but yeah, so only speed cores, and that is also a neat sorry, a neat little thing that you can do is you can just attach magazines on magazines, and they go on pretty much the same way. There's indents and things for everything to go onto, and then to remove the core, for me, the easiest way I found, which I'm still not super sure is the best way to do it, but I feel like it just gives me the most peace of mind as of right now, is I guess finishing that scooping like J motion. You just kind of just, instead of doing the reverse of what you did, you just kind of I don't really I want to explain it before I do it. Um, you just kind of lift. you, you snap it back. I guess is the best way I can describe the motion as. Is you just snap it back, um, like that, pretty much. I don't know if it puts a lot of stress here because that is a very um, or it seems like a very non-structurally sound spot. But that this is the way I prefer to do it. Even with the heads on, it's not that hard to do. But here it goes. That's all it is. Again, I'm not super proud of how I do it. I don't know if you're supposed to. I would like my Bottleman to last as long as I could. Of course, I'm not using all of them all the time. Um, but if in another world, Bottleman was bigger, I wouldn't want to be doing that just to learn that I'm actually just destroying my Bottlemen as fast as I can because I'm doing it that way and having to constantly replace parts and pieces and cores and buying new Bottlemen. Although also in that perfect world where Bottlemen and Beat 'em on are more popular than Beyblade or as popular as Beyblade, you'd be able to buy individual cores and individual magazines and things like that. But that's how the magazine attaches, um, and that's how I remove it. And then as for the again, nothing attaches to power cores. Kind of unfortunate. I mean, they're at the mercy of the user, of course, and um, you know being able to compress the hold parts. As for control cores, here's that other hole I mentioned, and then these little protrusions. If my camera will focus, please. Right here is where the barrel would hook onto. Now I would attach the barrel. However, I have had incidents where this hook on the top of the barrel has snapped off on me, and I'm very afraid to take it off all the time. So I will not be attaching it, but I will be, I guess, almost attaching it. Just hooks onto there, and then you just kind of make another scooping J motion or like a reverse snap or I guess a snapping motion, I guess, to attach it. Um, I'm not gonna because I'm going to attach the other parts to this core first before putting on the barrel. And also, um, like magazines, barrels are stackable. You can, if you have another barrel, as long as it's not like a barrel end, or a barrel topper, I guess, like I refer to as the magazines. Um, yeah, they're infinitely stackable if you just have more of them. Um, so there's that. So there's that. All right. So one last thing about the DX system Bottlemen uh, is that not only are the cores different, and of course the way their pieces attach are different, but also one more thing about them is that the pieces that you take off, depending on if you keep all of them together and don't mix match with other Bottlemen, is that you can combine them into something like this. This is intentional. It's in the instructions. It shows you how to do this. So you can have the core separate from the rest of the pieces, but keep all the pieces together. Now, again, I don't want to say too much about this because I do sorry, I do plan on doing a review on individual Bottlemen. Um, However, what I will say is, as cool as I would love to, and as much as I would love to just carry my Bottleman core on me at all time and keep these pieces attached and put them somewhere on me because I carry a bag around whenever like a crossbody bag around whenever I go out. As much as I would love to keep this in that bag, it's not the most securely put together. It is very loose, even if you do it right, which this is put together correctly. Things just will tend to fall off and pop off. Like these arm parts will just very easily. I didn't apply much force, and then the trigger is just wedged in here. I didn't apply much to take it out. Um, so yeah, although it is cool and it does have a name. I just forget what this mode is called. Maybe like not constellation. I don't know, because every Bottleman not only are based off of drinks, but are based off of, I guess, Japanese deities, or Japanese mythology, which I am unfamiliar with, unfortunately. And in my reviews, I will be doing my best to go over um, each one, and we'll be looking into what each one is supposed to be. But this is it's pretty cool. That's something you can do. It encourages you to do with the pieces whenever you have them. Like, of course, I can't put Aqua Sports's head on here and still expect everything to attach. It just won't. It has to be Kolomaru pieces specifically, and these Kolomaru pieces specifically, um, because there are two Kolomaru DXs. One is Kolomaru, one is Kolomaru Energy. He gets an upgrade in the show, as well as a different toy, um, a different Bottleman. So yeah, but I guess I just wanted to show that off, and now I will be attaching everything and showing you how they attach to the Bottleman. So I will do that now. All right, so for the sake of immersion, let's just pretend that this bottle cap is, still attached to this core, and that, here is me screwing it off, screw, blah, blah, blah. All right, screwed off. Cool. Bottle cap is now taken off. Um, I don't think there's no specific order. Some pieces are easier to remove than others because some stuff is in the way. We'll just do it in whatever order, really. I feel like the trigger does go on a specific way because there is some shape to it. I guess it's hard to tell. I can't really get a good angle with this lighting that I have. I guess that's actually really good. Okay, so it's flat up here. It's rounded down here. There's only one way to attach it. The flat side goes on top. Believe, right? Flat side goes on. Yeah, flat side goes on top. It just goes in, and then yeah, it just goes in, and then you just twist this. What I like to do is I like to try to line up at least something. Um, there are these two little like tabs or bumps or something on either side, or top and bottom of the trigger, and so I like to try to align one of these holes with it. So because there's three, I will either attach or align the top one with the top tab or bump, or I will try to align one with the bottom. It just really depends on the Bottleman, because you don't want to like over tighten, because then that can break the Bottleman, and because these guys are already not pretty much not being made anymore. You don't want to break them. I don't want to break them. I love these guys, and I really want them to last as long as they can. But yeah, so I like to try to align either that one or the bottom one. So that's what I like to do. Uh, and then let's attach the arms, I guess. Yeah, we'll attach the arms. I guess the head is what we should attach last. So you have his I guess claws here. These little pieces are rubber. They come off, which you're going to need to take off, which is kind of annoying. I'm not going to lie. Um, it just feels like an extra step that isn't necessary. We'll take off the wings, uh, which is where the arms actually attach to. But yeah, and then it does matter which arm does go on which wing, or which claw goes on which wing. I'm trying to do this while looking at the screen. Sorry. And you'll see everything has attachment points and things. There's the hole there, and there's a hole there, and they all attach and everything. So the way the arms attach to the core here is they slide into these little I don't know, these holes. Everything slides into everything. I guess I'll attach these. Completely forgot about these. Man, YouTubing is hard. Gotta make sure everything's on screen. Gotta make sure everyone can see everything. What are we? Oh, fucking what are we? This is annoying as heck. God. No. But yeah. Something I didn't mention also is I'm not a fan of how these attach. Compared to Beat 'em on, I think this is the worst way you could attach any arm parts as well as any head piece. The feet are okay. The feet attach fine. I don't have too much of a problem with that. Um, but compared to at least the beat 'em on I'm familiar with, Battle beat 'em on, which is second gen, and Crossfire beat 'em on, which is fourth gen, um, this is not this isn't good. I'll be honest. I really wish they would have designed something where it just like there was a hole. I almost wish like it was like this, where there was a rod or something, and it went into a hole, and then it was friction fit, or maybe you had like a screw because in Crossfire there was a screw that you put in, and it locked everything in. I wish they had tried to do something like that instead, but I guess they didn't want to make it too similar. Um, so this is what they decided. They went with these um, I don't even know what to call these, whatever this piece is, and they made it just slide onto. I don't know if you can tell, it's very hard to see, especially if my camera doesn't want to focus. Please focus. Fly. Don't focus. Please, pretty please. What are we? I'm thinking you're being fucking annoying right now, and I'm not appreciating it. What do I? I'll try to show you with all the blur that's going on, but there's a little bump. Oh, it's focusing. It's focusing. There's this little bump here, um, that is on this piece or whatever you want to call it, and you can kind of see it. It's kind of shaped like a triangle, I guess. I gotta hold on. Let me hold this up to my eyes to make sure I'm giving you guys like the right information. Yeah, it's shaped more like a triangle. So it's wider on the bottom, and then it's more flush on the top, right? So it's shaped like this, and then this is the side that the core is on. So it's shaped like this, or like this, right? It's shaped like this. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but just to give you a proper visual of what you're kind of what I'm trying to show you. Um, and I'm really not a fan of that. I feel like a round bump, like something like this instead, where it's just a small bump, would have been enough to keep everything secure, but they made it a triangle. And I don't have a problem with the DX Bottleman. I have a problem with the Godcap system Bottleman, because the Godcap system Bottleman have slightly different cores again, and the triangles protrude a little bit more, and that makes it impossible to take off the arm parts. This video is already long enough. I'm sorry, I apologize, but honestly, I'm loving talking about this, and I'm going to show you. If you don't want me to show you, I apologize. I'm having so much fun right now, like legitimately. But I'm going to show you uh, what I'm talking about. And I actually broke one of my Bottlemen because of it. It was the first Bottleman I'd ever gotten. It was a Godcap system Bottleman. I forget what his name is because it's a really weird name. He doesn't have like a very easy name to remember. None of the Godcap system Bottlemen do, except like one or two. Um, but yeah, I thought I'd mention that now. I wish they went with a bump rather than a triangle, than a hard edge, because that just feels really dumb to me. But luckily, with the DX Bottleman, the bump isn't as intrusive or aggressive, so arm parts are a lot easier to take off. So this is something I'm going to skip over in my review of this guy, and I'll be more talking about how he performs, and that's I don't know. I just wanted to mention that I guess both of those things really quick is that bump sucks, should have been designed better, and then also the reviews are more going to be about performance and maybe things that other things I don't like about the Bottlemen that I'm not mentioning here that I feel like is should be baseline knowledge. So I'm hoping for context of those videos that you also do watch this one. Again, I apologize that it is a longer video. Um, let's attach this arm part now. So it just goes on like this, just slides down. There's a small click. That's nice to hear. Always love great sounds. Another reason I love Bottleman is that the sounds whenever loading caps is pretty satisfying. It just makes this like nice clinking, clicking sound. Now that those are attached, let's do the head part. The head, yeah. I'm trying to figure out how should I remove this. I guess this just pops off and then this just slides off as well. Okay, cool. So this slides in. Right, yeah, slides in. Cool. And then the way the head attaches, it slides back into this. There's a small tab at the or protrusion or hook. I'll call it a hook. There's a hook at the bottom of his head. If my camera would like to focus, yeah, there's a small hook at the bottom of his head. It's hard to see. Apologies for my nasty ass hands. But there's a hook at the bottom of his head, and that pretty much just like clips or snags onto this piece right here. And so I'll just do that. Not much to it, I think. I'm gonna have to look at what I'm actually doing here. There we go. That's all it is. And then to remove the head, I guess I'll go over that. It's just pretty much the same thing with the way I take off a magazine. Is I just lift up, and then that's it. I just make like a this motion. So yeah, there's that. Let's reattach that, and then feet go on the exact same way as the prototype system. Of course, you can't put prototype system on DX. You can't put prototype system parts on DX parts or anything like that. They're not, backwards compatible. But yeah, they go on the same way. Hook in the front, and then just push in the back. That's that. And then, of course, the bottle cap goes on the top here of the head. Just kind of clicks in if you want to do it like that, or if you want to, attach the cap before you actually close the two pieces of the head. So there's that, and that's how you put together a DX Bottleman. So yeah. Anyway, let me demonstrate real quick. Just if I can, hopefully, ASMR trigger warning if you guys don't like ASMR. But here is the sound that I really love. I'll do it one more time. I'll do it a third time just in case you guys didn't hear it. Really hope that the camera or not the camera, my microphone picks it up, because it is a very satisfying sound. If you like keyboards, if you're into keyboards, it very much reminds me of a nice stocky keyboard. I had a small keyboard phase, but yeah, I love just the sounds Bottlemen make whenever just firing the caps and everything. And that's one thing that I haven't showed off in these videos is actually playing with these guys. I do plan on doing that. I don't know if it'll be before a review, after a review, some during a review, but I will eventually fire a Bottleman on camera. I apologize. It will not be this video. So yeah. Anyway, here is Kolomaru DX. We love him. We love him. Yeah. So I was going to show you the God Cap System Bottleman, but before I get to those guys, I wanted to mention one last thing, I guess, about Bottleman as a whole compared to Beat 'em On, which is what came before it. Is that in Beat 'em On, and I'll try to show a picture of this if I can on screen, but in Beat 'em On, the projectiles were marbles and instead of shooting one, they shot two. Now, I think in the original beat 'em on in what was it called? In the original beat 'em on series, the original beat 'em on toy, I believe called Super beat 'em on. I could be wrong. It could have just been beat 'em on. I know Super beat 'em on was eventually a thing, but in original Gen 1 beat 'em on, I believe they shot maybe one at a time, maybe two, depending. Two marbles, one marble. Um, but in Gen 2 Battle Beat 'em on, and so on and so forth, it became more consistent that Beat 'em on shot, or were able to hold, sorry, not shoot, but were able to hold two marbles, one in their head and one in their core, and they shot them one at a time. And then also at some point, um, there were beat 'em on that were able to shoot two marbles at the same time with a longer core. Now, what I have in front of you is an example of that with this guy, Kerpeps. I won't be going too much into him because, of course, our reviews coming eventually. But I wanted to show off. I not only wanted to mention that they were able to shoot two, or sorry, hold two, um, but I also wanted to show this guy off because I mean that's essentially what he is. Whenever I had first uh, seen Bottleman, I one of my first thoughts was comparing it to Beat 'em on and how Beat 'em on were able to hold two marbles, two projectiles, and so I thought, okay, what if Bottleman could do that? How would they do it? What could they fix to make that possible? And one thing I thought was a longer barrel, which is already a thing, and is mainly used for whenever a Bottleman is shooting two projectiles at once. Um, and so Kerpeps was that answer. I was like, oh, they already answered my question, kind of. However, uh, because Bottleman isn't as popular, and neither was Beat 'em on, but because Bottleman specifically wasn't as popular as Beat 'em on, the rules for the game aren't that specific. So I've kind of started thinking about my own rules, and so something I'm not sure on is, are you able to hold two caps in one Bottleman? Now I know that sounds weird, but the thing is, Kolomaru can only hold one cap in his core and really doesn't have too much space for a second. That's what that would look like. It doesn't look like it's supposed to do that, but I recently saw a video on the Takara Tomy Asia channel going over Bottleman, um, and this is what one of the guys was doing in that video, and I was like, okay, seems odd, but I guess if he's doing it, it isn't an illegal technique or an illegal move, or isn't, it's allowed. Um, and I was looking closer at the Bottlemen, and I was looking at the core, and I mean it's mainly there, I'm sure, to help one one single cap load into the core. Something I'm actually glad happened so that I could show that off. But I guess it could be used to help hold a second cap, but like you don't see this in the anime. Um, and of course, since nobody really knows about Bottleman, there are so little videos about it. That like, is this allowed? Can you do this? I feel like it's fine, kind of, but also like it just looks weird. Um, and then also I don't really want to shoot. All right, I guess I'll shoot a cap just because I'm not sure if this will actually work. But okay, so it did work. My biggest question and concern was that as you shot one cap um, out of the core, would the second one just pop out? Because I believe it can do that. I'm not going to try to make it do that. Um, but that's just a question that I had. Oh, sorry, Kolomaru. But that's just a question that I had. Um, was, is it even worth doing that if a cap is going to pop out? And so I brought Kerpeps in to show, you know, I'm not. I don't want to get too into like review territory because again, I you know the later Bottleman, the more Bottleman DX specifically goes on. I mean, the less you kind of just have to say. Um, but this is a far better way for it to work for whenever it's not a magazine attached to a speed core. But again, I mean, you have this like, hey, you have to have this longer trigger in order to do it, and even then you have to have the self control to not fire both caps at the same time because it is very easy to. Um, and also, of course, it's going to give you more of an advantage. And it's not really the same as being able to hold two but only fire one. This is holding two and firing two mainly. That's what this whole guy's like gimmick is. Um, and so I just wanted to bring that up. I wanted to show that off. And I wanted to talk about that because I don't know. It was just something that's been on my mind, and I just wanted to express that if anyone was wondering that as well. Is that you know is that is two caps the way I had it in Colomar? Was that intentional or is that accidental? Um, and is it in line with I guess rules? Is it allowed? I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who cares about this, but I thought it was an interesting thing to mention. So you know, yeah. All right. With that out of the way, with that side whatever out of the way, let's move on to the God Cap system. Now this is it's interesting. This is the I guess third. I don't want to say generation because I feel like generation is, you have beat 'em on or super beat 'em on, then battle beat 'em on, then you have crash beat 'em on, then you have crossfire, and then you have Bottleman. So I don't know. This is the third wave, third series, third line, I guess, of um, Bottleman, third iteration. The cores are different. The cores are different. Uh, that's how you know it's a new thing. You go from prototype to DX to now G system, God Cap system. I'm not really sure. This is them, and they're pretty wild. I'll be honest. Um, Something that makes these guys unique, of course, aside from looking, I guess a little bit different. Do they look that different? I don't know. Is that at least? Well, actually, let me take a look at this guy real quick before I say anything. Okay, yeah. Um, Now the main difference with these guys is their cores. I'll probably be only showing you one of their cores because they all have the same gimmick. But two of these guys are pretty unique compared to the third one, and I'm talking about specifically these two. This is Spritening G, I believe, and I forget what this guy's name is. And then this is Samet's G. Uh, and so Samet's G is like is not weird, but he's the different one out of these two. There's a couple different G God Cap system Bottlemen, and these two uh, are probably the best Bottlemen to get, but also like not at the same time. I know it's like a weird thing to say. I say they're the best to get because, as you can see, they have both barrel attachments as well as magazine attachments, and then um, also power hold part protrusions. So you can attach every single part of a Bottleman to make the ultimate Bottleman and the most powerful Bottleman. Um, And I'm kind of upset that like this iteration, this generation, this upgrade to Bottleman never got like an anime or a show or anything, because I would have liked to see, where these guys would have came in and how they would have been used, how they would have been utilized. Because I mean, why wouldn't you just always have certain arms and a barrel and a magazine always attached? So yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at the cores. We'll only be looking at one of them because the arms are extremely difficult to take off, like I said. So without further ado, let's take a look at that. Okay. Oh no, I'm so scared. Do I make you cringe? Do I make you cringe? Oh, fuck, there goes that. Okay, sorry, real quick. So I wanted to mention this because I was taking apart this guy, and I wanted to mention something. There are holes on the bottom of this guy's feet. It's not unique to him. Um, Pretty much every Bottleman that isn't a prototype system Bottleman, so DX and G system, um, have these holes at the bottom. Um, Beat 'em on Crossfire, from what I know. Um, there could be other generations of beat 'em on that have something on the bottom, but I'm mentioning beat 'em on Crossfire specifically because it's shown in the anime that there is a attachment that you can get for your beat 'em on, which are like rubber stoppers, which help with grip and stop them from like sliding around as much. Um, Someone attaches, or I guess a bunch of characters attach them to the bottom of their beat 'em on whenever they're doing certain challenges. And these bottlemen, or I guess just bottlemen, have these same holes, which I'm assuming is what that was for. But to my knowledge, they never released anything like that. They never released any parts you could attach to the bottom of bottlemen, which makes me think that they wanted to do more with these toys, but they just never did, which I think is kind of unfortunate. I think it would have been really cool. Um, Although it's not like it's not a big thing. It's not like many people probably would have bought the rubber stopper attachments, but it would have been cool to see because uh, Beat 'em on Crossfire just had, I think, a lot going for it. Um, and to see that kind of carry over to this and then nothing done with it, I think is unfortunate. Especially since it feels like the end of Bottleman, specifically Bottleman G, just kind of ended so abruptly. Um, and I think it's kind of unfortunate. I think it could have had um, potential. So I just wanted to mention that because I was taking this guy apart and I saw those and I was like, oh, let me mention that real quick. So anyway, let's get to the core. Okay, so finally here we have the. Let's do that again. Okay, so finally here we have or I guess a G system Godcap system core. I guess before we really go into this, I do want to mention something really quick. Um, I do want to show off Samit's G real quick. Um, Not only does he not have a hole or a tab for a barrel attachment, so not all G system Bottlemen can just attach anything they want, he also doesn't have protrusions on his hold parts, but his hold parts have rollers. Um, this guy's core doesn't, and neither does Sprightening G. So I thought I'd mention that really quick. Um, so yeah. So aside from that, What makes the G system core unique? Well, honestly, it's something that I'm not a big fan of. And again, I'm not trying to get too into review territory, but I guess since I'm going over, you know, um, the main things, the bases um, about Bottleman and each generation, I might as well mention this. Uh, I don't like the change they made and the, I guess, upgrade um, to the cores that they made with the God Cap system. The gimmick with these cores is that they're supposed to be more customizable, and the way they did that is they made the cores able to split apart, which I'll show you now. You slide, I guess, the front half down or the back half up, and then pull them apart. Hold on, sorry. I'm gonna do this off camera because I really want to make sure that I don't break this and have to buy a third guy for a review. Okay, here they are. It's not broken, I swear. It's always so scary doing something like that. Um, so this is the main gimmick with the God Cap system Bottleman is that the cores could split in half, and I feel like whenever they introduced Sprightening G and this guy, um, give me 1 second. I actually want to grab his box so I can look at his name real quick. Sorry about that. I just decided to look at the Bottleman product list on the wiki instead. His name is, or its name is Kokuryuo G. Um, I really don't want to say that. It sounds like it's a mouthful, kind of a tongue twister for me. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna keep referring to him as this guy, this Bottleman. I apologize to any other hardcore Bottleman fans out there, but it's a mouthful, kind of. Anyway, so this guy's this guy's core splits in two. I forget what I was saying honestly, but I guess I'll restart. This guy's core splits in two. Um, it adds a lot to customization, or at least it would if they didn't release this guy, or at least if they didn't make his core the way they did, because it kind of just defeats the whole purpose of this gimmick. Because the trigger is fine. There's no need to really, grab any other trigger, and you can't take the trigger off once you attach this piece on. Um, and also just the God Cap system Bottlemen are really annoying to build. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Um, so yeah. Um, what else can I mention? Oh yeah. So the whole reason I feel like these cores exist is because it's what it's making up for the lack of what DX did, in my opinion, or didn't do, which was allow you to use every attachment on one Bottleman core. You couldn't do that. Everything it was restricted to, or magazines were restricted to speed cores. Power hold parts were really only useful on, or you kind of had to use power hold part. You kind of had to use uh, certain arms on certain cores to get the best function of your power hold parts, and only control cores could use barrels. So this was their answer to fix that, and they sacrificed the ability to change the trigger, which, because they released this guy and made his trigger the way they did, it just defeats the purpose of the entire God Cap system, in my opinion, because this trigger is fine. It's a fine trigger. I don't need anything. Um, I really don't need anything else. The trigger is fine. It's got a nice wide surface for your thumb. It's short enough. Um, yeah, and it doesn't need any fixing. It's not broke. It didn't need to be fixed. And if anything, they kind of broke it more because um, I'm not upset that the trigger doesn't detach. I'm more upset that it goes away from the bottle look that the other cores had and the ability to take off the trigger and replace it with just the cap and have this cool looking bottle thing um, as like a standalone item. So so yeah, because if you when you attach these, you can't take off the trigger and keep that bottle motif, and I think that's very unfortunate. And like I said, or like I've been saying, it was the moment they decided to make this core and Sprightening G's core, um, this whole gimmick just flew out the window because why would you need to, or why would you even want to um, change your back half or front half of your core whenever you can already attach every piece you would want and could need uh, to this core. Um, so that's my biggest criticism about it, uh, and just wanted to talk about that. But really, aside from that, I don't like that it you can't really just keep the bottom motif. It's vaguely there, but again, not having the actual like cap be able to go anywhere, um, kind of disappointing. I really like that about DX, and then also the pieces. Like I had showed you with Kolomaru, how they all attach and then make that constellation or whatever it is that it makes. That makes up their deity or their mythological creature. Um, they also went away from that. You can't do that. The pieces don't attach whenever you take them off. Also, they are really hard to take off. I forget if I said that already, but they are very hard to take off because they decided to make these bumps where the arms attach um, protrude even more, and also at the bottom they had a harsh edge to them. So this core, I actually had to file down. I don't know if you can see um, the damage right there on that white line. Let me see if I can really get this thing to focus. Yeah, see right. Hold on, give me a minute. Right there, that lighter line is from a metal file I had to use to grind down the bump where the arm attaches because it was so hard to take off, and I think that was really a really bad decision on their part. It could be a manufacturing error. I don't know. It could have been. I don't think it's just my copy. I watched a review someone made of this guy. Sorry, I'm gonna fix my camera because it is. There we go. I did watch a review on someone talking about this guy, and he had the exact same problem in that video, and in that video, the bottom hand broke right here, which is where mine also broke as well. The previous copy that I had of this guy. Um, so yeah, uh, so that's why I think that it's a really good core because it can attach everything. It's also bad because it's just not. I had to file this down. I had to do that, and then also takes away from some other aspects that I really liked about this thing. Um, so yeah, overall, the God Cap system I don't think is that great, and I'm not really interested in getting a ton more of them. I don't have every Bottleman. I wish I did, honestly, but there are only a couple other ones that I'd really care to get, and I don't think the G system Bottlemen are in that select list of ones I'm going to be continuing to track down. Um, so yeah, that's that. All right, guys. So one last thing before I let you guys go is you'll notice. Uh, all right, guys. One last thing I wanted to mention. I know I've been doing all sorts of, hey guys. Oh, by the way, but this is the last one. I promise. Um, so here I have three pretty unique Bottlemen. Um, these Bottlemen are. Uh, these Bottlemen have what are called vertical cores, vertical spin cores. Um, and I plan on showing these off, in a later video on their own video. Not only because this one is already so long, but because um, they're truly unique. But also, I haven't opened these guys up. That's why they're not, actually out of the box. But here we have Wonder Grape, Raid Brave, Wonder Grape on the left, Raid Brave, um, or Raid Brave DX on the in the middle, and I want to say it's Kavita G, Decavita. Hold on, let me take a look at this real quick. And you know what? I'm not honest. I'm honestly not sure what the guy's name is on the right. I'll be completely honest. I know, I'm awful. Um, but these guys have vertical cores, and they're pretty unique. And I just wanted to mention these as well. And something interesting about these guys is that they're actually like the only ones in each system to have vertical cores. For some reason, vertical cores just aren't as popular, or they decided to not make vertical cores very popular because only it seems like from at least what I can remember, only one Bottleman from each series has a vertical core, so it's quite odd. Um, but I wanted to I guess show this to you guys real quick because they're pretty unique. It's a different way to play a little bit. Um, but these guys will be getting their own video, and I will not only be doing a review on these guys, but I'll probably do like a 3-in-1 video. I'm thinking where I show these guys off. But I'm also going to do um, in that same video a build. I'll be opening them up so you guys can see, what do you get whenever you open up a Bottleman, as well as, because these guys are so unique, how their cores are built. I really want to also document that as well. Um, so I just wanted to mention that, hey, this is a thing, and it's pretty interesting. Um, so keep an eye out for that. All right, and with that last surprise out of the way, congratulations, you finally made it to the end of the video. I'm so sorry that it went on so long. Um, I might end up making this a video split into a couple parts. I don't think I will, to be honest. I'm sorry, but hey, if you enjoy long form content and aren't a victim of short form brain rot, then you're welcome for the long video. I hope you had a good time, putting this on the background and watching your phone or something. I don't know, typing up your essay, uh, whatever you do. But thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for listening to me and letting me show you, what makes Bottlemen unique, and really going over, intricate details, or what I view as intricate details, and Bottleman anatomy. Um, I can't thank you enough for coming back and hanging out. Uh, I had a blast making this video, and I can't wait to show you guys some more stuff about Bottlemen. I promise I will be showing more of these guys in action and actually using these guys more, rather than just having them sit still and standing on my desk. So hopefully I'll see you guys in those videos whenever they arrive. And again, if this isn't your thing, no problem. I just really want to introduce this to people, show it to people, so whenever something like this, the next thing like this comes along, um, hopefully I can persuade you into to helping this community grow, and help me find more people to play with, because I love these guys. Um, So thank you, programs, so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. End of line.